How do you make a movie that tells such a complex story through the lens of one little camera held by one little person from across the room? How can someone be so involved with the fight to save a place, yet removed enough to catch everything on film? Is it worth being intrusive to get a better shot? And how do you point a camera at someone and expect them to act natural? Is it even possible to make a difference with the medium of video, or does it just contribute to the society of the spectacle?
People living in a small logging town are joining environmentalists fighting a big timber company. On our Earth Agenda, protesters are camped out in old-growth trees. KOMO's Keith Eldridge takes us to Watch Mountain.
It is the biggest deal of its kind in the Northwest in 50 years.
A proposed land swap between Plum Creek Timber and the U.S. Forest Service involving more than 60,000 acres of the Cascades near Randle. King 5's Carol.
It's a tactic we've seen before, usually with environmentalists in California. Now, for the first time, we're seeing it here in Washington state. Environmentalists taking to the trees to make their
preserve areas of land in King County, but it could devastate some other areas near Randle.
Land swap opponents are now living in a tree city, saying they won't come down until the land swap deal excludes trees in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest.
But our chief goal is to get Plum Creek out of here.
Years in the making.
And tonight, the 60,000-acre land swap between Plum Creek Timber and the U.S. Forest Service is only the president's signature away from becoming fair.
This is valuable. This is very valuable. This is home. This is the source of everything downriver. Whatever happens upriver affects everybody downriver. You know, you don't take care of the mountains, and you don't take care of the freshwater streams, you don't take care of the roots and the berries and the places where the fish spawn, and make that home okay. And what happens to the people downriver?
This is our upper river house. This is our home. This is Tidewater. There's different families that come from up here. There's Kiona, there's Ike Kinswaws.
There's not a lot of us left. They had a smallpox epidemic that just annihilated villages of our people at one time.
It's a coexistence, and that's what's not happening. It's just not happening. It's about economics now. People take.
The Gifford Pinchot Forest has been known as a sacrifice forest for quite some time. It really reached a heyday in the 80s under the Reagan administration, when we were logging as many as 400 million board feet of logs every year for many years. That sort of devastated the forest. What we have left is a very fragmented forest, a forest that's covered by clear cuts and roads, a forest where we have very little true forest habitat available for old-growth albicate species.
Once you cut the trees down, you've destroyed the heart. You've removed what makes it what it is. When you cut old growth, you're cutting people's heritage. You're cutting what has made them and removing what has made them who they are. And there is no way to replant that.
We're really talking about just the last few fragments. We're really talking about just the few scraps of old growth that remain on the landscape.
With the forest practices the way they are, with Option 9, the salvage rider attacking our forest, and now land exchanges, we're watching the forest fall faster and faster.
When traveling through Southwest Washington, it's obvious that that area has taken the brunt of industrial logging. The Gifford Pinchot National Forest has been cut down, logged down, shipped out, logged some more. But to make matters worse was when the I-90 land exchange came along, which was a proposal to privatize 8 square miles of the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, both Watch Mountain near the town of Randle and Fossil Creek down near Cougar and Mount St. Helens, to the Plum Creek Timber Company.
The federal government has been trading land with private parties for a long time, but one of the reasons that my organization came into existence was that we discovered that there are some real changes in this program in the last 5 to 10 years. What's happening is, particularly in the Northwest with timber companies, the companies have cut down most of the trees that they have on their land, and they need more trees. That's what it's all about. We see a lot of larger and larger land trades that, like this one, involve thousands or even tens of thousands of acres of land.
The I-90 land exchange is one of many land exchanges that are attacking our national forest. It's this particular one was legislated by Slade-Gorin. Plum Creek was going through the initial public process of using the land exchange format, which is new, and there hasn't been enough research done on the impact of the process of land exchanges yet. This one was legislated because Plum Creek got impatient and went to Slade-Gorin and said, hey, public process takes too long. We can't deal with that.
What happened was it became too late to pass a standalone piece of legislation, a bill that everyone in Congress would vote on. And instead what they did was they wrote what's called a rider, which they attached to an appropriations bill. A rider is an amendment that goes on a spending bill. And it never gets debated, it never gets examined, it's just tacked onto a bill that has to pass. And that's what happened with this. The parties involved were Senator Gorton, Senator Murray, and the Sierra Club. Those were the people who put that rider together.
Randle, Washington is a great tiny rural town on the side of the Cowlitz River. If you're driving out from I-5 out to White Pass, you might not even notice Randle, but once you stop there, you realize it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's in between Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Rainier. Everything in town is right at the base of Watch Mountain. Everyone knows their neighbor, there's a library, local cafes, a school for all of the surrounding towns, and a local mill. Back in the 80s, probably every business in town had signs that said this business supported by timber and by timber dollars, and that's definitely true. The town is a logging town, at once was in its prime. There were a lot more people living there then, but because of the boom and bust nature of logging towns, there aren't as many people now, and they're trying to figure out where exactly the economy should go, since there isn't such a supply of timber left anymore. When the Plum Creek Lumber Company worked to legislate the I-90 land exchange, they had no idea how much resistance they were going to find in Randle, Washington.
They're big name people. They will do anything for money. That's the bottom line of it. As far as any kind of pride, personal pride, they have none.
Plum Creek stinks. They ruin every area they go into. A gentleman came up from Oregon, and he told me that they can't understand why the state of Washington would even let Plum Creek into our area, because they've destroyed everything they've touched.
The bottom line is they're in this to make the quick dollar, and they don't care what they have to destroy.
Now, they have bought somebody besides Slade Gordon off. Now, and I mean big money.
There's a lot of people in town that don't agree with this land trade. There's a lot of people that like this forest and don't want to trade it. And there's a lot of safety issues to it too that a lot of people down here don't understand. And Plum Creek don't care one way or the other. And the people down here know that. They've experienced Plum Creek's attitude, and there's been homes that's been slid over from their cuts.
When Plum Creek logged that, the first slide started right up here in that canyon. The first one's off to the left. And they can go into a place like that and log. Where are they going to stop them at? They started sliding from all sides and come right down into that V in there. All that stuff piled up in there, and it just made a dam. Just like putting a cork in a jug. It built up, got enough pressure behind it, water behind it after it rains, and then out she comes. Now that's what happened. Now if they're not liable for that, then what are they going to be liable for?
The first home I owned in Randle was completely destroyed. I had sold it a few months before, but logs came down a creek that ran behind the house and jammed up and did a right angle and pile drive the home and leveled it. And I thought, man, if they clear cut that whole mountain, the whole town's going to be subject to the same kind of a situation.
I feel as if it is unfair for any company to just be able to rule us and tell us, ram it down our throat, of whether we want it logged or we don't want it logged, and have no say-so whatsoever about what they're going to do or when they're going to do it. One thing they still can't stop us from, that's opening their mouth. Yet.
Welcome to Watch Mountain Tree Village. Occupation day 5.
On July 11th, the Cascadians came to Watch Mountain and tried to find a place to put up a tree sit. And this site was chosen because some of the most beautiful trees, western hemlocks and cedars and Douglas fir, are in this area, and some of them probably as much as 800 years old. And tree sits began to be erected. People began to climb these giant trees and to erect 4-foot by 6-foot platforms like the one we're sitting on right here. An old real estate sign that's been converted into a home for one, and in some cases, 2 people. These tree sits are about 160 feet from the forest floor, and you get to them by climbing up and down these ropes.
So we're setting up a tree village up here at Watch Mountain, and this is the first tree village, I believe, that's been in Washington State.
I'm here because I don't think old growth should be cut at all, and particularly this piece, because this was traded away, and it's nobody's place to be trading away old growth forest.
Plum Creek exports more than half of the timber it cuts as raw, unprocessed logs to Asia. And what they want to do is subcontract in with some fallers who aren't even from within this county to come in and clear cut this area over a 5-year period, 1,000 acres. And then they'll probably try to trade it back to the government for more land.
The sad story behind this land exchange is that an outside company, a big corporation, big timber company, is getting ancient forest on steep slopes above the town of Randle. And I've seen time and time again where the big company comes in and they clear cut, they strip the ground all the way down to the earth. They take away all the trees, and then they leave town. They don't hire local. They don't stick around to see the damage they've done. They leave, and the rains are going to come this winter or next winter when they get the cutout. And Miller Creek, which is the creek that runs from the top of Watch Mountain all the way down through the town, it passes the church, the local bar, goes right into the grocery store. All that will be impacted by landslides. And Plum Creek will be gone. The crime that they committed will have been long past, and they will no longer be responsible for their actions. I've seen this happen time and time again. This is a very interesting case in direct action where the town, the local community, is actually in more support of forest activists being in the trees than they are of the timber company being up there.
What do you think about the people living in the trees in Watch Mountain?
I think they got more guts than I got, and I think they ought to be appreciated.
To be able to come into this area and have townspeople actually supporting, bringing things up onto the mountain up to where you are, outstanding. I didn't think it would happen.
Tree sitters have been accepted amazingly by the older folks who kind of just spread the good word around and just fell in love with the tree sitters. They're here for a reason. My thing is, if they can slide a mountain through the political maze, they can slide it back out. Or I'm climbing a tree. And I don't want to have to do that, but if I have to, I will.
They trade the old growth for the reprod. That seems like it is anyway, from what I can see. I've never heard of us getting a good deal on nothing. I have never heard one man in this valley say, boy, the Forest Service sure traded for a nice piece of land.
We didn't actively support inclusion of those lands into the exchange, but they went through the environmental process, and it's a regional decision based on regional priorities, and so, you know, I hate to see those lands be privatized and at the risk of, you know, people's watersheds and people that live downslope from it. So.
Well, guess what? If somebody gets hurt, you're going to get arrested. How's that grabbing? Thank you. Just thought I'd let you know. And then you'll be sued.
Doesn't it bother you that they're going to clear cut this forest?
It's not my job.
It's not your job? What do you mean?
My job is to enforce the laws of this land.
No, I mean as a human being, as a person.
Well, right now I'm on the job and I don't have opinions to that.
Boo!
We've had one recent, I call it a breaking event, happen. The Ty and the Palm family, which is the native people of this land who were here before they got wiped out and moved away, who are now called the Cowlitz tribe, which was given to them by, I'm sure, our government. They had a meeting regarding the fact that there's people living in the trees in an area that they considered their natural heritage, not ours. And they got together and they drafted a permit. They decided that we have the right to be there. They gave us permission, and they all signed it, saying that as long as we respect the area and respect them, that we have the right to occupy this area.
We believe it's an honor and a responsibility to care for the land, and in caring for the land, we care for the people. Connection of things cannot be forgot. From our people of Ty and Plum, we choose to grant a permit to the Cascadia Defense Network to camp and care for the land in Calgee, consistent with the natural laws of our people. This permit commences on the 9th of July, 1999 and continues until Ty and Plum College Illahee revokes this permit. Authorized, and we've even got an official seal down here with all these names. So there it is, it's yours.
When you believe in something, I think you ought to stand up for it. If you don't, why, you ought to maybe go to Japan with the logs.
I think that the Cascadians are dedicated to protecting this place and staying in this place and being an active center for resistance against the Plum Creek destruction of Watch Mountain.
We're not leaving the trees.
They can try to buy the mountains, they can try to buy the trees, they can offer you good money for the very air you breathe. They can take away the land, say it no longer belongs to the people who have called it home all along. They scatter oil rings in the valley, strike the tree line from the sky, and punch a road right through the sacred place where wild things once went to die. And pour concrete in a river, make it flood out on the land. And so much for whatever used to live there, but it's time we take a stand. And they will not take the mountain that they have come to kill. They will not take the mountain, but they think they will. There's a spirit in this land, some tough reckoning. They will not just wreck it along with every other thing. They won't take the mountain. They can gut their legislation, they can turn it inside out. They can say it's jobs or else it's ours, man, that's what it's about. And they can lie through their teeth, make statistics back them up. They can make us all illegal, and they can lock us up. But they will not take the mountain that they have come to kill. They will not take the mountain, but they think they will. There's a spirit in this land, some tough reckoning. They will not just wreck it along with every other thing. They won't take the mountain. They won't take the mountain. For the mountain has more power than they know. Oh, the mountain has more power than they know.
You have to remember that Randle is a logging town, and the historical precedence of a logging town coming out in support of anything resembling saving trees is a huge deal. And so a lot of people were really interested in trying to stop the land exchange, but didn't want to say that out loud or tell their neighbor, because that's such a huge thing to say. But on July 29th, we started the town meeting. And the meeting was supposed to start at 6:30. And starting around 6 o'clock, the parking lot slowly starts to fill up. And I don't mean like the 15 cars that we were expecting to show up there, but I mean fill up. So right at 6:30, on the dot, there were over 150 people in the room. We had to go over to the church and get the rest of their chairs to put them into the fire hall to try to get enough room for everyone. There were people standing all along the sides of the room. Every single chair was filled up. The place was packed, and every single person in town that was interested was there, except for the person we invited from Plum Creek Lumber Company to represent their side of the story.
And so I looked the last couple of days at the timber up here on the mountain. And I looked at Miller Creek, came in from several ends, and walked a stretch of it. And then this morning I went down, I saw the Nazarene Meeting Hall down below, I saw the community buildings, I saw the houses on the hillside. Not good. Not good. The only thing that will help is not logging in Miller Creek. That's the only thing that will help. And that's what I came to tell you tonight. Don't let them log that hillside.
This mountain up here, you would not treat it like Plum Creek would treat it. Then it would be private land. And you as an individual with your own humanity would be responsible to your neighbors to treat it in a neighborly way. But when a corporation that is not a person, it's a board of directors that has as its rules maximization of corporate profits. It's shareholders that live all around the world, never heard of Watch Mountain, don't want to hear about Watch Mountain. They want profit, they want earnings. And when it's corporate land, there is no one responsible, because you can't put a corporation into jail.
There are people all over the West who are facing the same problem that this community has. And I think that if the town of Randle decides that they're going to stand up and try to keep Watch Mountain in public ownership, to try to keep Fossil Creek in public ownership, and not trade this land away to Plum Creek, there are people all over the West that will stand up and support you in that.
Now from what I've heard from the folks in this town, from what I've heard in just a little chatter outside this meeting, from what I've seen from the quotes in the newspaper and the televisions, I can tell you Plum Creek is not going to cut Watch Mountain.
And Francis says, let's vote. If you want to see Watch Mountain saved, raise your hand. And almost every single person in the room raises their hand. And it's just, people are grinning and you can see them, they're so happy, and it's the first time publicly that they got to acknowledge to one another that, yeah, this is an okay thing. This isn't just some crazy idea, we're going to save our town.
When did our Forest Service stop being an advocate of our natural resources and become an instrument to sell and trade away our forests? I think that's unconscionable. And I know that you're a victim, like the rest of us, of legislation. But that's legislation that needs to be changed.
The whole world has just been wrecked because of people wanting lumber. And I don't think it's fair to sell out to them and spoil all the water and kill all the fish and everything else.
It is really shameful that we have destructed this country in less than one lifetime.
I'm not against logging. I'm not a person that says, no, we can't log nothing. Because it's timber a renewable resource, as far as I'm concerned. And there's places you can log that, it's reasonable. It's not that I want to stop the logging, it's just places like that where it's endangering people right over their homes, and like this, them places should be left. I think there's enough timber to log. If we haven't got enough to log, well, it's about time to quit, I guess.
I think that our old growth ought to be protected from any company, I don't care how big they are.
We're living in an environment worldwide that we're fast destroying, and we need these trees. If we're going to survive as a species, we have got to have oxygen, we've got to have water. You take down these trees and there's nothing left. Yes, we need timber, but let's plant trees and harvest them like you do other crops, and let's leave these old trees that are hundreds of years old that are irreplaceable where they are.
Old growth is an element of our natural heritage, and it has too much scientific, historic, and cultural value to be simply clear-cut. And since so little remains, and since it has such tremendous value, it's really just common sense to stop the old growth logging.
It's kind of rough right now for logging because of a lot of the environmental things that they put on us, but a lot of it was our own fault because we never did things like we should have done years ago, so now we're paying the price for it.
Loggers aren't all bad. Some people might think that, but well, we need to build houses out of something until they can make something that's affordable for everybody. They gotta build a house out of something, toilet paper, everything.
If newcomers are going to come be part of the land, I just wish they'd just quit changing it and just leave it alone and learn to live with it. To me, that's what happened. To me, people came in and said, my God, this is wild, we have to change it.
I heard a great story yesterday from a Cowlitz native, and this forest means a lot to his people. You know, I can share in that feeling that, yes, you know, the forest grows roots and the roots stretches out to all these people. And that touched me. That really touched me. We're all interconnected.
The thing I like about traverse lines is it shows how connected everything is and how dependent we are on everything. So like if this tree broke, you know, or fell over or whatever, we'd be fucked. If that tree did the same thing, we'd be screwed. And so like a tree village just kind of shows the interconnectedness of life in general and the reason why we can't cut these areas, because they're vital to everything.
There was this hummingbird that would come every day and he would fly down, and at first he would just come in and then he would fly off because he got scared, but then like more and more every day he would get like more courage to come near me, and then like he would just come right up to me and just flutter in front of me for a long time, and then he would take off again, like, and it was really great that he just became more and more used to me being up there, and that I think he realized why we were up there. And I think that's the biggest thing that my experience was, is feeling the power of the trees, and that's so hippie for me to say, but it's so true. Like, it's somehow I felt safe up there, even though I was 200 feet in the air. I felt like I was protected by the forest, and I don't know how to explain it unless you go and experience it yourself.
If you've never experienced it, it's almost impossible to describe the sense of peace that one gets when they go into an area that is truly old growth, where the natives have actually lived, made their way, and done what is normal for them.
Well, this is just about the most beautiful place I've been in years. Really, really beautiful. And I think it takes one sick puppy to mow all this down.
Fossil Creek is simply one of a number of old growth stands on the Gifford Pinchot that are threatened by logging. As you know, estimates range between 80 and 90% of the old growth forests have been converted or destroyed. So we're talking about the last 10% or so of what was once a vast landscape of old growth that remains.
We have such a deficit of ancient forest left in the state of Washington that we need to protect all of it, whether it's in Fossil Creek here or at I-90. All of it should be protected.
I think that anybody
the two western hemlocks.
Well, you know where with any heart and any sense who came out here and saw this would feel like I do, like we all do, that there's just no way we can let it get sacrificed. It's too important, it's too beautiful, and there's just not enough left of it to play around.
Well, I mean, it's reinforced
So,
with 2x4.
that's why we're here, that's why we're staying.
That's what the floor space is.
Major companies, major corporations, governments, powers, whoever you want to call them, come in and they count on the fact that the people are going to be lethargic. The people are going to say, gee, this is wrong, but I can't do anything about it. Isn't this too bad? But I guess we have to take it because it's a major company, a major corporation, it's the government. That is not true. There's a tremendous amount of power in the collective efforts of communities, of peoples, of environmentalist groups, of whatever.
We've got a real mess on our hands. The little guy fighting against the big one, but we don't give up. They underestimated the spirit of the people in Lewis County.
Where is the rally today?
Seattle.
Seattle?
Seattle. No, yeah, we're just going. We're going. We're going to save our trees somewhere or another, we hope.
I'd have to say that we're not going to let Plum Creek have Watch Mountain and Fossil Creek. The people of Randle truly feel threatened by Plum Creek's past behavior in their cutting practices.
My homeland has never been treated. It has never been given away. Governor Stevens years ago tore the piece of paper up and walked away. And yet the state of Washington and the federal government assumes authority to be able to sell these lands to Plum Creek or the U.S. Forest Service to dictate authority over these lands. And it's not so. This is still Cala's homeland.
Is it going to be life or is it going to be greed? How much more do we have to give Plum Creek? What is Plum Creek? Why do we have a Plum Creek? Why, as we as a society, let a Plum Creek happen? Are we so captivated by the systems and so captivated by the greed? Are we such people who have given up on our freedom and our liberty that we're willing to say, we can't do anything about it? They're big Plum Creek. They're a big corporation. They can just have it. We just have to give them these old growth forests and let them cut them so we can save a few places elsewhere. Is that what we've become as a people? Is that what the American mandate and destiny has become? All right, we're going to go across the street. We're going to Plum Creek headquarters. We're going to support the people of Randle who come to talk to them.
Grandmother's back gotten bent to the ground by the oppressor man pressing down, down, down. Grandmother's back gotten bent to the ground by the oppressor man pressing down, down, down. Oppressor man, see what you're doing. Oppressor man, creating a ruin. Oppressor man, hear what she say now. Oppressor man, be changing your ways now. Her body is not a commodity. Her body is not a commodity, not a product to be bought and sold, not to be mined for oil and gold. She is not a product to be bought and sold, not to be mined for oil and gold. She give all she got to give. She give what we need to live. She bring all the world alive. Without her we don't survive. So wake up, na 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 na, wake up. People hear the chorus singing, wake up, na 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 na, wake up. People, one and all. Grandmother's back gotten bent to the ground by the oppressor man pressing down, down, down. Grandmother's back gotten bent to the ground by the oppressor man pressing down, down, down. Oppressor man, see what you're doing. Oppressor man, creating a ruin. Oppressor man, hear what she say now. Oppressor man, be changing your ways now. Her body is
They said that they have a letter. Mr. Johnson. They said they have a letter from us stating that it's okay. He can come to Randle. I told them that they wouldn't have that.
They told you to restrict us from entry, is that correct?
Sir, I'm trying to answer many
I'm
questions.
trying to find things out myself. I mean, I came a long way too, and I'm on limited budget. I was invited here by Plum Creek.
I understand. I understand.
So, but I want to get it straight. You're denying us access on behalf of Plum Creek. Is that correct?
I'm not going to debate any
issues with you. I'm not here to take sides.
Now, why are we? You're putting words in my mouth.
Who is denying us access to Plum Creek?
Plum Creek, I guess.
Well, I want to let everybody know the Seattle Police Department is here to make sure that you can peacefully protest and get your point across. The building management here, if they decide that they don't want you on their property, it is private property, just like any private property you may have. And so I'm going to nicely ask you to please step out to the sidewalk and you continue your protest there, but you can't be on the private property.
It's voice vote. Just say we're here.
Hey, Bill, we came all the way out from Randle in response to your letter. Where the hell are you? You've got your Gestapo blocking our access to your offices. This is the way you are good neighbors and friends of the community? We had your representative lying to us up there Friday. He told us on the mountain 80% is what you intend to export, and then he lied to us and said 25%. Why don't you come down and talk to us? You say you want to. Put your butt where your mouth is, bud, and get your ass down here. Yeah.
By this time, we were in the thick of the campaign, and we had been trying our darndest to get the attention of Plum Creek because they were not listening to us. And lo and behold, they finally decided to pay some attention. And they sent out a mailing to every voter in Lewis County saying that we were lying, that Elmer Day's place really hadn't been covered by a mudslide, that was their fault, and that they weren't planning on clear cutting Watch Mountain. They showed up at our town meeting, and we were really glad because a lot of people in Randle had a lot of things they wanted to say to Plum Creek Timber Company.
My question to you is, in light of knowing how the local folks feel about this, why does your company wish to pursue to continue to keep these parcels in this exchange? Why do you choose when you could perhaps create better PR for your company by gracefully bowing out of these particular parcels?
Well, I don't, maybe these people can explain you how government works, but it works really complicated and very slowly. This exchange is about 10 years in the process.
You people don't seem to give a damn about us.
Well, we do care about the town of Randle.
I mean, this is the third meeting we've had that your company's been invited to, and it's the first time you showed up.
Why were the Japanese timber buyers up there walking alone with Plum Creek men looking at the timber to buy it before you even owned the mountain?
You guys are rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. Give us a break now.
Well,
Give us a break. It's our hill. We're going to keep it.
Okay, it's the same thing that I took back to D.C. in our talking with everybody. I said it has become very, very sad that money has become more important than a town and people's lives.
Just take your losses. You're seeing a massive amount of opposition here and opposition mounting. Take it back to your company. And I know you guys can't make a decision, and I really admire you for standing up here and taking this flag. Just take it back to your company. We don't want you. We don't even want your kind of business here anymore. We're tired of it.
The company's full aware of the position of Randle and everything that's going on. I guarantee you that. So me going back there isn't going to, and they understand.
And I'm going to try not to get emotional here.
That's all right, bro. You're fine.
But why we went back to D.C. is to protect our home, and our family, and everybody else that lives in Randle. I don't know any dilly shit about your company, and I really don't care. But we do not want Watch Mountain or Fossil Creek logged. And I don't know what we have to do. Log or anything, I just don't care. Just do not log it, because eventually that hillside is going to come down and it's going to come right over Randle, and we will not stand a chance.
And I understand your concern, and
no, you
what
don't.
I'm
You don't live here.
But what I'm trying to tell you is these landslides that happen in the valley, you guys have been hit hard in the last couple of years. There's an explanation behind those landslides, and I know that your town was blocked and those kinds of things, but those slides were deep-seated landslides, and the state took the toe off that went out of town here. And
that hillside is unstable. It's been proven unstable. You cut out the public process. Well, and now you're having to deal with a very irate public. Understandable.
On October 28th, Cascadia Defense Network went to Seattle and decided to do an office takeover of Plum Creek Timber Company's headquarters to draw more attention to Fossil Creek and to make them realize that we wanted all of the land, not just Watch Mountain, because in the negotiations it was looking like Watch Mountain was going to get saved and Fossil Creek was going to be sacrificed. And so we decided to go there and put more pressure on Plum Creek and make them realize that we wanted all of the land saved and that Fossil Creek was just as important.
Can you need somebody up here right away, please? Can you have some uninvited visitors? Thanks.
Please, this is an office.
Yeah, I know it's an office. I know very well that it's an office.
You will not have Fossil Creek!
All units on each on 23.
We don't want you in our building. Exactly.
We don't want you in our forest.
We don't want you in our forest.
Walk up a bit closer. They don't want
All units, I need you on 23.
Ma'am, if you don't turn the camera off, I'm going to take it from you.
Plum Creek Lumber Company has no validity in the forest in Fossil Creek or in Watch Mountain.
Plum Creek will never ever cut Fossil Creek.
You will never have fossil. We are in the forest. We are here.
This is not going to get easier on you guys. We're just going to keep coming back. We're going to keep coming back until you get out of the forest.
You people all understand why we're here today? It's because your company is cutting Fossil Creek down in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. There's so many tree farms already. It's old growth forest. It's not okay to cut the forest. You do not have authority to cut the forest. You will not have the forest. The forest is everyone's to use, not yours to cut. You people understand? Come visit us. Come visit Fossil Creek. Come see for yourselves what your company is doing.
We've heard your side. Nothing has been done. Nothing. Nothing has been moved. You didn't want to use that land, so you got the land exchange delayed. We don't want you to
Copy, bring him up.
delay it and get fossil and walk out. That's all we're asking.
He's turning violent.
Mike, we're not going away. Tell Rick Holly, we're not going away. We're going to keep coming back. We're going to keep doing this. We're not letting you cut these areas. Whatever it takes. We are going to push. We are committing. Whatever it takes.
And I hope you're scared.
Lots
I
of
hope
money.
you think about this tonight. And I hope it worries you and stresses you out because you're never gonna cut Fossil Creek.
Save yourself the headache. We will be back. We are never going away.
Hey Justin, what happened?
I'm feeling like we did our job. I'm feeling like Plum Creek was definitely wigged out.
I probably talked to about 10 or 15 different employees and they were all like,
Is he being arrested or is he being cited and released?
He is going to be booked in the county jail for assault.
It looks like at the latest he'll be until tomorrow night, like sometime after 5:30.
If you go into buildings where you're like breaking the law, it doesn't really help your cause.
This is a last resort, sir. This has
But,
been
you know,
going on for a year.
If your kids are out there and work with us, beat guys, you know, get media attention, stuff like that, it makes the press. He has every right in the world from the defense perspective and the prosecution. The judge will say guilty or not guilty, or a jury trial. And that's how the system, that's why America's so great. You know, you guys can protest and things like that.
I don't know. It looks like, is there some kind of a protest going on down there?
I guess so. I'm not really too sure what it's all about.
Maybe that's why they lock the doors or something.
Yeah, they don't want people going in there, I guess.
Go around the other end.
Within a few days after the office action and only a few days left with Congress in session, the environmental groups that were sued by Plum Creek met with Plum Creek and made an agreement to drop all of Watch Mountain and the oldest old growth from Fossil Creek out of the I-90 land exchange.
And we got in there and they had their whole row of lawyers on one side of the table and all of us sort of conservationists on the other side, and David started the negotiation and sort of said, well, the Watch Mountain parcels, well, you know, you've seen them up on the front page of the Seattle Times and the PI. You know how the town of Randle feels about it. You know the tree sitters are there. We just basically need you to drop all those parcels. And Plum Creek looked back across the table at David and said, okay. And at that point we realized, boy, what an awesome alliance we've pulled together.
We've looked at about 350 of these projects, and we've never seen anything where the public spoke with such a strong and unified voice against these lands being given away to a timber company.
There isn't going to be anybody come in here and walk all over this little town anymore. I really do believe that it's gotten everybody's attention, and thank goodness, because we need our resources, we need our recreation.
I'm just proud to have met all the young people I did. I call them kids ever since I've met them, but I guess they're young people, and I really appreciate what they've done for this community. And they have built my faith up in the young people again, and I really appreciate that.
It was the last time I've been to Watch Mountain. We were going up there to take down the final parts of the tree sit and the last rope so that no one else was going to be going up in those trees on the lines that we had set or the platforms that we had set. And just on the way up, it was really a big change in perspective for me. The whole road had been covered with snow and it was getting pretty deep. It was probably up to about a foot in places, and there's pretty large trees, like big trees that had fallen across the road. And to me, it was just the right of the land to be there and exist without us, pretty much. And it was reclaiming itself. And I really felt like an invasive force going back in there at that point. Like it had its own right to be, and I felt really good that we had helped that right exist and continue.
Kind of ironic that we're removing blockades from the road when only a few months ago we were brainstorming ways to put blockades in the road.
We're moving.
How does it make you feel?
I'm confused because I can never move very well. It puts me into direct conflict with my issues with material possessions.
Are you glad you won?
Yeah, that's great. But I hate moving stuff. Stuff sucks.
We're about to take down Nuthatch, which is one of the 2 platforms here on Watch Mountain. This is the first time in the history of direct action activists, as far as we know, in the Pacific Northwest that we have taken down our own blockade. It's a lot of work. Right now we're about to take down this here platform. We've taken the roof down and the water catchment, and this is the last step, and then on to the next trees. It's been really fun living in the canopy. It'll be even more fun taking it down because this forest needs its rest and its safety.
We're preparing to take down this platform because we won.
So this is the last straw here. Homestead has been up for, 6 months? I'm not even sure right now. And we won. And Homestead's going home. As my good friend Mafik said, send the cow blood glue sheet wood home.
The time has come to do this.
To take down Nuthatch, say that.
Take down Nuthatch since we won our campaign.
Excellent.
Woo-hoo! And I need you two to get off the platform. And all you viewers at home as well.
Coming down!
We won. We won.
Yeah!
I never have had an opportunity to work with any groups that were more dedicated, more selfless, gave of themselves, their time, their energy, their enthusiasm, and I was very proud to be a part of this whole picture.
I'm glad to see Americans stand up and go, enough's enough.
I'd say we won with a sincere, concerted effort of radical environmentalists reaching out to local rural people who really both have a lot in common, and finding those commonalities, developing friendships and a coalition which had a lot of political force and really put pressure politically as well as through the media on Plum Creek, Patty Murray and Brian Baird. And that's really how we did it.
Last summer, 100 acres of Fossil Creek were clear cut by the Plum Creek Lumber Company. And it pretty much broke our hearts to see 400-year-old trees get logged in a place that we tried really hard to save the whole thing. And luckily that whole part of Fossil Creek was bought back, from Plum Creek, so it can't get logged anymore by the timber company, but then the timber company got a whole bunch of dollars that they can go buy other land. So I don't know, it's really confusing. Is that a complete victory? I'm not sure. I don't think anybody's really gonna push it that it is. We're really glad that this area of Southwest Washington's not getting hurt any more than it already has.
As long as the government continues to log old growth, there will be controversy because wildlife will be going extinct. These cathedral forests are very important to people and they don't want to see them logged. What's the future hold? The future is that the public needs to let their elected representatives understand that it's very important to them that the government stops logging old growth.
While it's important to challenge the timber programs and be writing your politicians, it's also important to examine the entire system with which corporations are allowed to have more voice than the people in the environment, and to realize that the entire system itself is corrupt and needs to be changed.
So Watch Mountain is an inspiring example of what happens when people get together and take collective action. And hopefully we can take the inspiration of that and get out in the forests this summer.
At this point, there are something to the likes of 24 timber sales in old growth areas up for cut this summer in the Gifford-Pinchot. And all of them are within important critical watersheds. They're in the few areas that still have old growth left, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of bridge building with communities and active resistance on all angles to stop these sales this summer and beyond the Gifford-Pinchot.
We have to put our bodies in between the chainsaws and the trees. We can't sit around and wait for our politicians to do it for us. We need to take action, and we need to do it ourselves.
We're not going to have a world to worry about. We may be dead right now, we may be done for, but we may stand a chance, just like with this mountain situation. But we're not going to stand a chance unless everybody gets busy and says, we can't take everything, we can't suck everything dry in one fell swoop. We've got to put back as we take out, and we've got to perpetuate life.
This is not the summer for sitting around and hoping that someone else is doing it. This is going to be a full-scale attack on our forest.
Live from Olympia, Washington, it's Sapphire on the Watch Mountain side! Oh, this is a fabulous show!
No, it's such a really quiet song after that. And I'm getting over cold.
Stop apologizing.
Turn it off now, please.
Doesn't that look really weird?
Turn it off.
No! This is a documentary video.
And almost every single person in the room raises their hand. And it's just, people are grinning and you can see them, they're so happy. And
What are you doing?
I am getting ready to climb this fabulous big tree because I have lost my mind. How big is this tree? This tree is one big hummer.
No, you should look as suave as possible.
Sky moves like water. There are 1,000 whispering voices
Oh shit! Oh, are you okay?
They call me Maria. I come to these hills 40 years ago. The smoke is in my eyes. I'm drooling all over the inside of my face.
Power and overrule human needs and I can't do that.
For future generations.
Like, it was ha ha fuck you Plum Creek.